right, we're here for our first weekly baseball press conference of the season with head coach Danny Hayden. Coach, what are your thoughts going into the season after getting a few weeks of practice in?
I think it's a pretty normal time for just about every coach when you ask them what they're excited about right now or what we're looking forward to. I think it's pretty similar throughout the country, is that I think we're all ready to get out and play another team. We feel like we've done a good job preparing our guys. Our guys have done an awesome job of putting in a ton of work and kind of earning each other's in their own respect. And I think everyone's just kind of ready to get out and see another jersey right now and see where we're at.
Looking back, we have 5 returning starters, a lot of good players back, but you also graduated a lot of the pop from your team last year. How do you feel that you are going to replace that?
Offensively, we've got some newcomers that I think will help us kind of feel for some of the loss that we had. Obviously, Ross Happy was a huge part of the lineup last year, and Hayden Singer had a really big year for us too. But I think we've got some guys that are new to the program that I think will pick up where they left off. And we also have the development that's taken place in our program has been significant. And I think we have a lot of guys that were good last year that are ready to be great this year. And they've put in a ton of work. I think Landon Stevens, a guy that jumps to the top of my head, that he's worked his tail off to turn himself into an elite college baseball player right now. And I think we've got a lot of guys that are following his lead on that right now.
All right. You mentioned Landon Stevens. Will Vogelsang, Parker Massman. Do you expect some bigger jumps from them this year as well?
For sure. I think they're continuing to become more complete players, both of those guys, as well as Cal Elvers, and there's a long list of guys behind those guys that are, I think, really working really hard for their own personal development, and then doing a great job at helping, I think, continue to lead some of the younger guys in our program. I think that's something that's been awesome from definitely from last year and maybe a couple years before, where the leadership has been really good here. And I think that's what we're starting to see, where Cal Elvers and Landon Stevens and Will Vogelsang had great guys to look up to in our program and guys to work with, and now they're kind of morphing into those guys for the underclassmen. So it's not really just a couple of guys that care about their development, but it's a team full of guys that care about each other's development.
Now on the pitching staff, you have 2 of your regular starters from last year, Spencer Mraz and Bailey Martin, returning. What can you tell us about them, and can you tell us about some of the other arms that you think you have back in your pitching staff as a whole?
Yeah, I'm excited about the pitching staff. I think there's a lot of guys there that can help us get a ton of outs. I think they're super competitive from the whole. I think Coach Passor has done a really good job with his regiment for development for those guys, and they're super bought into what we're doing every day, every week for the plan that we have for those guys. But I think for those guys, it's as true, or probably more true than anybody, is I think our pitching staff is really, really itching to get out and compete and to get out and start getting some hitters out that aren't wearing a Miami practice jersey. So I think when we let those guys, we let the leash off of those guys, I think they're going to really enjoy this weekend and getting after St. Louis.
So you've mentioned the turnover player-wise, but you've also had coaching turnover as well. How has the team kind of gelled and the coaching staff kind of gelled off the field and just on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, well, we have last year we had Coach Forney, who was our operations guy. He's still here. Coach Dedman and myself are still here. Coach Davis took a job with the Boston Red Sox, and we've kind of gone through a little revolving door in the volunteer position, but I'm really excited about where we're at right now with being able to keep Carlos Texador in our program. That's a position that Matt Passor had last year, and he's obviously been elevated to our pitching coach now, and he's done an awesome job. And to have anybody who just approaches baseball and really life the way Carlos does every day, with a smile on his face and super energetic to learn and to get better at whatever he's doing, he's just a thrill to get to work with. So I think the staff, while we've had a little bit of moving chairs this off season, I think we're in a really, really good spot. I think there's a lot of respect on our staff for each other. I think there's a lot of respect that goes back and forth between the players and our coaching staff and our plan for them and their execution of the plan. So I think it's a really good spot to be in right now.
And then I know obviously I haven't played any games yet, but what's kind of the balance right now of spots that are still open for, competition or spots that are locked down by guys?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we have too much locked down right now, and I I think that's probably a kind of generic thing to say. But I will say that every year we try to do this. We've got a plan, and we think this is how it's going to go. And there's 2 or 3 guys that really step up and outperform maybe what you thought they could do. Maybe our expectations weren't enough. But that's what makes the competition so awesome in this game. That's why baseball is awesome, because we're going to find opportunities for some other guys to get out there and compete, and some guys are really going to step into those moments and not look back, and that's how competition's created. So I think there's a lot of spots on the field where there is going to be really healthy competition throughout the course of the season, not just through the early part of it, but I think there's more than a couple positions where I think a lot of guys are eager for their first shot, and they're going to do as much as they can to hold on to it and try and show us that they're the guy. And we're going to try and continue to find opportunities for guys so they can have those moments.
And what can we kind of expect come this weekend against St. Louis, both from your standpoint and your team, and from St. Louis?
Well, St. Louis is going to be very good. They won their conference last year. They're a good team. They're well coached. They play smart baseball. So I think, anytime you're playing a team that's used to winning a lot, which they are, you've got to play really good baseball to win. We're not going to go out there because we may or may not be more talented than them and win the game. Like, that's not how those games are going to be won. The team that plays better baseball is going to find a way to win the series this weekend. I think we're in a really good spot to do that. I think the messaging from us, our coaching staff, is really going to be to get outside of our heads, and in terms of, we've spent a lot of time in our development this offseason, which has been great, but now this is compete mode. This is what our team loves. Our team thrives on competition. Anytime we put something on the line, it's a whole different type of practice, energy, feel. So I do trust tremendously in our guys' ability to compete, and I think when they get to do that this weekend, we're going to really like the result.
And then is push the rock still kind of your motto for this
Yeah,
season?
For sure, man. We're pushing the rock every day. For our guys, for me, it's definitely just it's a lot of people say trust the process, or you got to work the process, or whatever. That's exactly what it means to us. Push the rock is we know it's going to be there every day. We know there's work to do every day. We all want to extend our baseball careers, and we all know that it's not going to be easy. And we know that rock's sitting there by our bed every morning we wake up. So we're gonna wake up and start pushing. The other one we talk about all the time in our programs, the word good. We say it all the time, but our response to any adversity is going to be good, and what's next. And our guys have done an awesome job. They did a great job last year. I think of all the teams we played against last year, I thought we let weather or maybe bad calls or different adversities that can happen in a game, I thought we were affected by it way less than what I would see other teams affected by it, and that is definitely going to be a point of pride for our program and a strength of this team.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.